Hello YouTube, my name is Gauntlet and today I will talk about how to defeat gold users in Call of War. But first, a couple of disclaimers. First, thank you gold users and people who use High Command for providing the money to make this game free for everyone, and also paying for the future updates Bytro has planned for Call of War, including the 1.5 update that's coming up soon. My second disclaimer is defeating good players that use gold is really hard or sometimes impossible if they spam it. You would have to spam gold yourself to beat them, and unless you're interested in donating hundreds of dollars to Bytro, then trying to defeat a gold spammer that is a good active player is not worth it. I will go over ways to win a possible fight with a gold user without giving up and simply leaving the map, which is an option. You can just give up and leave the map if you do not believe it's worth it anymore. The main way to beat a gold user is to win the psychological war, meaning the war of the mind. And there are many ways to do this. First way is you win through numbers, meaning you form a broad alliance of your coalition. If it's in a world map, you can have 5 players in your coalition, and you can get other coalitions and other players to provide additional support to your plan to defeat a gold user. You will then have to surround a gold user and spread his forces thin so that he can't concentrate his forces and form big stacks. And he still might try to form big stacks, but even if a gold user has hundreds of units, their economy can only support so many units. They can only have enough oil and enough food to provide the upkeep for all those units. And eventually that gold user, if they don't have a super strong economy, will have to pay gold to maintain the upkeep of all of those units. And they may just decide it's not worth it anymore. And to help this process along, you and your coalition can target the resources and production capability of that gold user by launching raids, by using economic spies, by using all sorts of methods to weaken the economy and make him spend more. Second method is to use a defensive strategy. Use natural barriers and superior tactics to win engagements on your own terms. This means using an ocean, a sea, or even small straits like the Bosphorus Strait and the Strait of Gibraltar are great ways to provide a safe barrier between yourself and a gold user. This is because when you launch troops across water, they have to embark for a certain amount of time and they have to disembark for a certain amount of time. And those times cannot be reduced by using gold. So a gold user will have to do embark and disembark the same amount of time you will have to do it. And while an army is in this process, they are extremely vulnerable because they will become a convoy unit. And a convoy unit, as I showed before in previous videos, has 5 HP and is relatively slow at low levels. And so you can kill, I've killed hundreds of units on water if they were in just a massive stack. And that can be done with artillery, naval bombers, regular bombers, and rockets. And so you can kill what equates to hundreds of thousands of gold in armies that a gold user would try to send at you can be killed in a matter of hours using the right techniques. And if you kill all those units and you use superior tactics and superior defense against a gold user, they might just, again, give up and not believe the fight is worth it anymore and leave. But in order to win a psychological war, you have to make sure you don't lose your valuable units, because if you're not going to use gold, you will not be able to replace losses as easily as a gold user. Therefore, you have to be smart with your units. You gotta pull them back and keep them safe when you're not active. You gotta be careful not to fall into traps or get hit by rockets or stacks of planes. So keep your units moving, keep them safe, if Turkey was active, I would have to keep my units moving and just add target, so that for the next 18 hours, I know that my stack cannot be hit by a rocket, because a rocket needs to be within a certain radius, and usually most units are fast enough to be outside that radius, because a rocket will be targeting where that red dot is, but that red dot will have moved slightly over the 5 to 15 minutes that the rocket's in the air, and it will usually miss if your units are kept moving. In order to protect yourself against aircraft, it's good to have your own aircraft, and also to have plenty of AA in large stacks, so that, again, airplane damage will be spread across your whole stack, and the AA of all your units will be combined and be able to deal decent losses to the gold user. You can watch my air tactics video on tactical bombers and interceptors to learn exactly how to use your planes to do the most damage against the enemy planes. Fourth tactic is to use surprise. So if you can catch a gold user unawares while they're inactive and cripple their industry, cripple their economy, and destroy as many units as you can in the first couple hours of the war, then you might be able to get them to give up. They might just say, wow, this is going to take way too much gold for me to recover from, and decide to take their gold and spend it elsewhere because it won't be worth it anymore. I find this works most of the time. It's very rare that a player will be reduced to a couple of provinces and they'll gold all the way back up, because that will take so much gold to do. That's very, very rare. So yeah, just try to kill their allies, make their allies give up, isolate them, hurt them, make them suffer, and most of the time they will give up. However, be careful not to let this backfire, which means it's always important to be respectful. It's good to be respectful in general, but especially against gold users, because if you are disrespectful, if you say harsh things, if you insult them, then all that's going to do is to give them another reason to spend more gold to crush you. Like for example with Turkey, even though Turkey did upset me, I never said, I said some interesting things, some not nice things, but I wasn't insulting him. I wasn't saying, oh, you're a horrible player if you use gold, oh, you're garbage, or worse things. I asked what happened, why are you betraying us, stuff like that. You know, questions. Trying to make him think about whether or not what he's doing is right. And that may make him decide to give up more often than if you were saying, oh, you're garbage, go to hell, stuff like that. And hell, if you really just want to win, you might just want to team up with a gold user, because a gold user as an ally, very beneficial. In fact, that's what I try to do at the beginning of this game. Before Turkey joined Russia, and Turkey, Romania, and I were all like in the same geographic area, and I saw Turkey literally had built up all these industrial complexes on day one, and I was like, oh my god, if he attacks me, I am dead. That was before I knew he was so inactive, but still, I didn't want him to end the game for me and Leo on day one. And so I was diplomatic. I opened the channel, I said, how are you doing? I was nice, I was respectful, and for the next 6 days until day 8, we were on good terms. Until he betrayed us, of course. But that did buy me time to build up my economy and build up my army, so that when he did betray me, I had a good army. In a sense, gold loses its value as the game progresses, because once everyone has 50 to 100 units, golding out 5 or 10 more will not make as big of a difference then as it would have back when on day 1 everyone only had 20, 25 units. And lastly, detecting a gold user can be pretty easy if you know what to look for. For example, it was very obvious when Turkey was doing it because he had built all these industrial complexes, which take 2 days to build. And he had built all of them with his starting resources on day 1, which is impossible. Another way to find out is you know how long it takes to build certain buildings. 2 days level 1 industrial complex, a day for a fort, 2 days for infrastructure level 2, 8 hours for airbase. If you see those things pop up within minutes of each other, or even like a fort is built in 12 hours, it's pretty easy to tell that they're using gold. And also, if you see that they have level 2 air bases on day 1, because you know airbase level 1 takes 8 hours and airbase level 2 takes day and 12 hours, you know that's not possible without gold. And also, like, I'm pushing on Istanbul because Turkey decided to leave it undefended because he's brilliant. If I see 2 anti-tank get produced right now, then I know it's gold, because okay, there is a chance that he had an anti-tank in production already and it just so happened that it was ready right before my tanks got there. But if he spawned 2 of them right now, then it's obviously gold, because it would take, even on level 5, it would take 7 hours to build an anti-tank. But whatever. And just to talk a little bit about my strategy this game, I focused on his allies first because I knew I could kill his allies without much trouble. I played defensive. I let him take certain land. I let him take Greece and Bulgaria because I knew I didn't need that. That wasn't essential for my economy. This is essential. I was going to fight to the death to protect this. But I'll let him take Greece. I'll let him take Bulgaria. I'll let him waste his time. And I'll surround it. I'll kill everything. And I'll launch raids. And Turkey's only been active like a couple times a day, so right when he stopped being active, I said, oh, this is my time to strike him when he's weakest. And I sent my tanks forward. They managed to get around his army, and they're about to take his capital, which might make him surrender. But in general, it's very dangerous to attack a gold user because they can, for example, build 10 units within a minute. But when you know they're inactive, you can do this. But let's say, for example, Turkey was very active. I would not be attacking. I would be on full defensive and just attacking whatever he throws at me because of the fact that he can build anything he needs right away. Whereas if he's attacking my land and his troops are away from his industrial complexes, then he can't reinforce them very quickly. This video was mostly narration. I'm sorry if that wasn't your cup of tea. I don't have a whole lot of footage right now of me fighting gold users, and Turkey is not a very good example because of how inactive he is and how much of a newbie he is. So as I get more footage of me fighting gold users, using special tactics and etc., I will try to release them to you, my viewers, so that you may see all the different ways I have learned to play this game. That concludes this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, leave a like, and comment any advice you have. And if you have any questions for me, please do not hesitate to direct message me in Discord or comment in the comment section. I will see you on the battlefield.